You ever had that? Where you're praying, but the situation doesn't change. You wait, but the door never opens. You cry out, but heaven seems to stand still. Have you ever felt that way? When God seems silent, there are numerous questions that come to mind, but I know that two that comes to my mind is that we can wonder, has God forgotten us? Is God actually doing something? Well, Exodus 2 speaks to seasons like that. In our passage, it's interesting that there's no recorded speech of God in this chapter. There's just ordinary events. A baby born, a basket woven, a princess bathing by the riverside, shepherds watering their flocks. And yet beneath it all, God is silently, carefully, and powerfully at work. Exodus 1, if you recall from last week, ended in horror. Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, had ordered and invited his own people to kill Hebrew baby boys, to throw them in the river. He gave license, jurisdiction, legislation. He gave them the opportunity to take it to the Hebrews. You see one, throw it in the river. It looked like tyranny was winning. It looked like God's promises were drowning in the river. But Exodus 2 shows us something crucial. Namely, when it seems that God is silent, He's often setting the stage for salvation. And there are 2 points that I want to draw our attention to bear this out. And so we begin, and here's the title of the sermon. The title, if you're taking notes, is The God Who Sees, Saves, and Prepares. The first point, and from verses 1 through 10, we learn that God's people are saved from the water. Saved from the water. I want us to slow down and feel this scene. It begins with at this point, unnamed Levite man and a Levite woman joining in marriage. They're called Levites because they descend from the tribe of Levi. And hence then this Levite woman gives birth to a healthy, strong son. But if you recall from chapter 1, Exodus had decreed that boys like him must die. Can you imagine the tension? When you catch wind as a mother that your son, if you have a son that's born, the Egyptians are able and commanded to kill it. Maybe the mother was hoping that it was a girl. Maybe hoping that something would happen to this Pharaoh before she had a son. Well, in any case, she sees her baby, it's a son, and then the tension. How do you keep this child hidden and quiet? And for those of us that know babies, that's a hard thing to do. Right? Every cry is dangerous. Every knock at the door, if you can imagine, is terrifying. Every day is borrowed time. And her and her husband are able, to the best of their ability, to hide this child, this baby, for 3 months. But eventually she cannot hide him any longer. I don't know if she perceives some of her Egyptian neighbors looking over the fence a little bit higher, saying, I think there's something funny going on. Or maybe that's less quiet in the evening and she's more sensitive to the cry of her child. Whatever the case, her and her husband decide it's best that we make a basket. And that's what she does. Now here's something crucial. It's something important. If you ever wondered why this mother does this, I've given some thought, like, why would she do this? And as I've wrestled and consulted with Scripture, this is what I think. Is that in verse 3, when she places the baby Moses among the reeds after creating this papyrus basket, it's interesting that the text does not present her as simply handing him over to death. Nor does it suggest that she's got all these details planned out. Rather, what we see within this mother is desperate faith. She makes a waterproof basket. She doesn't throw Moses into the river. She doesn't push this basket out so that the currents of the river can take the basket down. Rather, she hides it in the reeds where there's no current that can take the basket away. And she does this because she can't obviously defeat Pharaoh. She can't overturn the decree. She can't ensure her son's future. But what she can do is build this contraption and simply entrust him to God. God, I don't know what to do. God, clearly your promises to Abram says that the Israelites will grow and be fruitful and all the world will be blessed. I don't know what to do. Here's a basket, God. Do something with it. And the New Testament even gives us a clue as to this interpretation. Here's Hebrews chapter 11. We read, by faith, Moses' parents hid him for 3 months after he was born, because they saw he was no ordinary child, and they were not afraid of the king's edict. The author of the Hebrews calls their hiding of Moses, and I imagine and perceive also their construction of this basket in faith. It's pure, unadulterated, desperate faith. God, you love me, you care for us, do something with this child. They may not have known how God would intervene. They didn't know that Pharaoh's daughter would come there. They didn't know how their son would live. They simply did the next faithful thing they could do and entrust the rest to God.